Okay, so people ask this all the time. Where do my dreams come from? Well, your dreams come from lots of places. Your mind, which is why a lot of psychologists will say, well, dreams are just a processing of your life through your subconscious. Okay, that doesn't work for me, but okay, all right. Your soul, your soulish man, are the place where trauma or negative opposition sometimes settle. That's connected to pain in your flesh or your human man. Negative forces will send messages, and the spirit of creator. Now, I believe that all dreams are good. People are like, you haven't heard my dreams. Listen, I had night terrors all my life, so I know what it looks like. But I believe that all dreams are good. Let me explain why. All dreams are good because, see, sometimes we live in this sort of denial, stick my head in the sand, sort of Pollyanna. I don't have a problem with you being happy or living in well-being and being full of joy. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, you live in an earth, in a universe where there's a lot of opposition and there are battles to be fought. No good general is going to send you out to battle without understanding your enemy. If you don't know the ploys of the opposition, you're not going to last long. So, the reason I believe all dreams are good is this. Anything Creator reveals, exposes or reveals. I don't like the word exposes much because people get all weird and they start backing up. Ooh, I'm afraid you're going to see something that I don't want exposed. Well, I'm going to explain why that doesn't happen. Hang with me, because I'm going to explain why that doesn't happen. But Creator reveals things for one reason alone, and that is to heal them. His heart is never to shine a light on something and embarrass, intimidate, shame you. That's not God. It's somebody, but it's not God. Okay? So anything that comes out of the trauma or the terror, the only reason those things are in your dreams are so that you can get the 411. Sometimes it's a 911. And there's always a response to the interpretation or the understanding of the dream. You don't just have the dream and go, oh well, it's good. There's a response. There's a reason why I'm telling you something today, and it's to help you. There's a reason why you're getting dreams and why they have messages that you need, and it's to help you. So let's look at Creator messages. Creator loves to put messages in your dreams. Now remember, you're not going to argue with Him, and you're not going to overanalyze if you're asleep. So we receive a lot in our sleep, even related to healing, because we're resting. We're in that restful mode, right? We can't respond. That doesn't mean that there's not a response on the ones we understand. We'll talk more about that. So these are some of the things He gives in your dreams. Very strategic. Keys to strategy and understanding. He wants you to understand what's going on and how to respond, how to go forward, what is not supposed to be in your life, and just as important, what is supposed to be in your life. Okay? Warnings for possible demise. Hey, I don't want to miss any of that. If I'm going to get killed, I want somebody to tell me what's going on and divert me. That's what He does. Answers to your queries. Like I said before, lots of people are asking all kinds of questions. What should I do about my job? What direction should I go? Do I need to move out of the state? Am I ever going to have a relationship? Am I ever going to get married? What am I going to do with this? We have all kinds of questions, and all kinds of answers are in your dreams. And direction for your future. This is huge. There's a map in your dreams. Creator will literally give you an understanding of your direction connected to your destiny, and then he'll give you the map on how to get there. Let me tell you about one of the dreams that I had that's in the journal. Years ago, I was looking for a job. Had no idea what I was going to do, but really wanted to do something that I enjoyed for a change. I'd been in the medical field, which I like, but I was a lab tech, and I was doing pathology, and I don't like pathology. I like people. But I just wanted to do something fun. So I am just asking, oh, please give me a dream with some sort of direction. So I go to sleep one night. I wake up with this dream that I got up the next morning. I got all dressed up. I went to the nearest news store in town and told them that I wanted to be a fashion coordinator. They said to me, when can you start? So I wake up, hey, you know, I'm stupid, right? I wake up, I put on the very same dress that was in the dream. I get in my car. Now, let me give you a 411. When you have a dream that has elements that are related to your life today, I really have this brown shirt with the flowers on it. I really do drive a specific car, or the house is specific, but maybe the other pieces are not. If there are 2 to 3 pieces in your dream that are literal to your life, you better be listening. That's very likely a literal dream that you could miss. So I get up the next day, I put my clothes on, I get in my car, I go to the nearest new store, which happens to be a brand new mall being built in this area, and the store's not even open yet, but the management offices are. So I walk in and I say to the receptionist, hi, I want to be a fashion coordinator. She looks at me, kind of looks out of the corner of her eyes, looks at me again and says, can you hang on a minute? She goes to the back office, talks to the general merchandising manager. The general merchandising manager comes out and he says to me, how did you know we were looking to even develop or start a position for fashion coordinator? And I'm like, well, just a guess, you know. I didn't know what to say, right? And he says, well, we haven't run an ad, so we don't know how you found out about this job. Then he starts asking questions. Well, do you think you could do informal fashion shows at the local high-end restaurants every day for the next 30 days to launch the store's grand opening? It's going to be a big deal. Celebrities are coming in, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, well, yeah. Right? Sure, because I had the dream. So, that 30 days of informal fashion shows trained me. That's not to say I didn't have some background and some interest in that, and I've been sort of in and out of that, but the next 10 years were all related to fashion, and I was with them for quite a while as a fashion coordinator and went on to do lots of other stuff, and then wound up a modeling scout, a scout for the modeling industry, taking people back and forth to New York City. Now, I wouldn't have wanted to miss any of those things, but had I not listened to that dream, that one, see, all Creator needs to give you is one step. If you take the one obedient step, it'll open the rest of the doors. right? Because everything's a contagion, right? Everything in the earth is a contagion. It's like you take one step, one little step, which you can so easily talk yourself out of. You could have so easily talked yourself out of coming today. It's Saturday. It's beautiful outside. We could have been doing anything else. But see, this is the deal. Creator has a calendar with lots of appointments on it. And these are appointments that have been on his calendar for eternity, because he's eternal. So he was waiting for June 29, 2013, right, to show up so that you guys could all be here so that you could get this information for whatever reason that you're supposed to have it. But see, this is not an accident. You didn't just show up here because, oh, good, it's about dreams. Yeah, that's not the way it works. I have evidence in my life that's not the way it works. There is no coinky-dink. It does not happen like that. So he was waiting for you to show up, and I'm glad you got here. Because there's a lot going on. So, what affects your dreams? There are several things that affect your dreams. Everybody's always asking this question. One of them is territory. We're going to talk about several things, but one of them is territory. I do a lot of land work. I'm by nature a seer, and I'm intuitive about the land. I connect with the land. Sometimes I connect with and see what's going on the land. Sometimes I don't, but you know. So land issues, territorial, regional, strongholds, and generational curses. Now, every piece of ground on the earth has some sort of redemptive call or an original DNA like is in you, in your purpose, okay? So because there is a call or a mandate or a purpose on your DNA, and it's like that for the land has a DNA and a purpose, and opposition, because we live in a universe full of oxidants and opposition and toxins in the air and pollution. It's the same way in the spirit. Those things will continually bombard the land, and strongholds will take effect. Remember what I was saying earlier about the enemy or opposition coming against what your call is? Maybe one of your strongest gifts is wisdom. So you act foolish all the time because you haven't stepped into your gift. Look at where the opposition is hitting you, and you'll probably know what your greatest call is. There's a key for you. It's the same with the land. If there's been a lot of fortification of bloodletting, and I'm kind of going some places hoping, but it feels like there's some mature people in the room. But, you know, how many of you are familiar with SRA, satanic ritual abuse? Okay, only a few. All right, this is the deal. There has always got to be a sacrifice for a victory. For those who read the Bible, you understand that. Okay? So the blood, it sets strongholds, negative or positive, okay? Because they're both. You've got to remember this. If you get nothing else out of today, get this. Everything has a positive and a negative. Don't continue to walk around seeing only the negative connotation to something because you haven't yet seen the positive of it. So what happens is this. On high holy days, there are sacrifices that are made that are about bloodletting. Same for issues in the earth like 9/11. And, you know, the blood that is spilt on the land, it either, well, it defiles the land. Is everybody still with me? In other words, there's been a defilement or an injustice because there's been death connected to the land. Okay? But the redemptive side of that is this. There is a sacrifice that is positive as well. Those who have fought in your generational line, those who read the Bible know that the blood of Jesus is a sacrifice that cleansed defilement. But even in your generational line, those that went before you and they fought against opposition and they got past or they broke the opposition, they opened the path for you to go forward. That's the way it works. Now those victories and those failures, they work like blood on the land. They affect the land. This is the deal. If you're offered some opportunity, and let's say fear is your overwhelming opposition, maybe it's even generational, maybe it's in the bloodline, okay? And it shuts you down from moving forward in this opportunity, then what you've just done is you've taken a step back, and those that come behind you will have to fight harder for what is theirs because you did not stand your ground. When we step as individuals and as families into the fullness of our purpose and our call, then those that come behind me, my children, yes, but my interns, anybody that works with me has a greater opportunity to get through the door because I've already fought the battle. Right? I ran through the monster that tried to stop me. It's fear and intimidation. That is something in my generational line. Now, let's go back really quickly and then we'll continue forward. With how many of you have had night terrors through your life or at some time in your life? Come on, stick a hand up. Everybody's so timid in this room. Okay. A lot of times, those night terrors are based upon, obviously, your call or your mandate, your DNA, okay? So, if you, as a child, went to bed, closed your eyes, and saw monsters and scary stuff, and it wasn't because you were watching Twilight Zone or whatever it is we used to watch, which is light compared to what we watch now, right? Then, what it is opposition to try to shut down your identity. You still with me? Yes. Okay. What do you do when you get scared? Hide, exactly. I don't want to see. Well, if you're a seer, then what's the enemy going to send to you but night terror so that you shut your eyes and you're not seeing? Are you getting it? Yes. Okay. So if we're so afraid to see that we don't see and then ask Creator 2 or 3 questions, why did you give this to me? And what do you want me to do with it? Remember that. Let's hear everybody say it. Why did you give this to me? What do you want me to do with it? Thank you. Those are going to be questions you need to ask. Because if you look at what is trying to intimidate you, you'll see that it's not ever as big as you think it is. But it is opposition that's trying to steal your identity. And it's probably doing it. Because it doesn't take much. Okay, so what can affect your dreams are the things that are on the land, different. One of my interns is she works with flower essences. That's not the same as aromatherapy or what are the essential oils? Thank you. Not the same. This is It's a very gentle emotional healing for trauma or things where you're shut down. Things like what I do with dreams, she does with flower essences. And different flowers have different elements and characteristics that affect different things in your life. When I was in South Africa back in June of last year, I was in a car accident, a terrible car accident. Somebody came into our lane. The car tumbled over 2 lanes and out into a field. I impacted my wrist. Fortunately, the vehicle landed upright. I didn't even have a seatbelt on. Now, mind you, had we landed on the roof, my neck would be broken. But I'm telling you, Creator literally cradled me through that whole accident. So I didn't really even feel any trauma. You know, lots of people have a lot of trauma, you know, connected with those kinds, especially a really bad one. But what was interesting is I get back to the States like 3 months later after I'm starting to feel better, and I start driving a car again, and I'm actually a little iffy, but not too bad. I really am doing very well. So riding in the car doesn't bother me. Driving the car, that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is to be watching television and to see the impact of an accident and hear the crash. The minute my ear hears the crash, I smell the burning. It's just... See, those are conditioned traumas that the opposition or the enemy places in you so that he has something to stick a hook into. It's called a trigger. It's an emotional trigger. So Seneca sent me what she calls a formula called crisis care, which I don't know what kind of flowers are in it, but she understands it. But I said all that to say this is very interesting. She came out to Washington and stayed here with me for about a week, and we worked on the site and some other things, and she was just looking at all of the things that were on the land. And she was saying, I said, well, what do you see? And she said, what's growing on the land is Scotch broom and something else, but the Scotch broom apparently is very much connected to and is a healing property if used correctly. You can't go eat it. Do not do this. But it is a healing property to SAD syndrome. SAD syndrome, where there's a lot of rain and little sun. Right, we have, I don't know what the acronym stands for, but a lot of people in those...
Seasonally affected depression.
Thank you, seasonally affected depression syndrome. That is very interesting, isn't it? See how Creator is so multifaceted, and He's such a genius, and He sets these things up. And I was so amazed at how this crisis care was affecting me. Now, I've been on her essences for a long time, and I use her sleep essence, which just gives a peaceful sleep, and it's, like I said, it's very gentle. What it works on is your emotions and on the trauma. It doesn't alter you in any way. But one thing that I noticed with the crisis care was, because see, trauma causes us to step back. It injures some place in us where we step back, we're intimidated, we step back out of fear, right? And we don't voice who we are, right? That's the way trauma works. So one of the things I figured out, which was so funny, after I first started the crisis care, was all of a sudden I was very outspoken. I mean, I'm direct, but I was very outspoken, and I wasn't really concerned about anybody's feelings. It was very interesting. And Seneca said, "Are you on your crisis care?" And I went, "Uh-huh." She said, "Okay, well, that explains your bad mood all the time." I'm like, "I'm not in a bad mood." She's like, "Yeah, but you're downright mean." No, all it did was it opened me up to, this is what happens. It began to deal with emotions that were coming to the surface. It brought them to the surface so that I would have to deal with them. Some of the essences are gentler than others, but you want to see what the issue is. You want to see what's going on. The revelation is to get something healed so that you can go to the next place. Because just seeing it is not going to heal it. And if it doesn't get dealt with, you'll never move forward. You'll remain stunted in some area in your life, or relationships, or emotions, or see how that all works? So we've got to get past all of that. So, other things that affect your dreams are what enters you. What enters your eye gates, your ear gates, your dreams. They'll use material like we were talking about with The Matrix, or a movie that you've seen. Remember me talking about the smell of the burning on the accident? That's what, when that comes up, that flashback comes up, excuse me, I smell the burning of oil. I don't know why, but that was so, and that's very much connected to all your five senses. You know, the sight, smell, taste, you know, touch, all of those things are very strongly connected. Sound is one of the strongest elements of your five senses, which is why when I hear a crash, I can see something, but if I hear the crash, then the smell comes back and I feel what I felt as I was going out into that accident. Okay? So, and Creator will employ all the initiatives from negative forces. We talked about that. The enemy and opposition will send all kinds of forces, but Creator will use them for His purposes and for His benefit.